We are gonna wax and tint my brows together, and I'm actually filming this on my new camera. So I have no idea. I feel like I've asked ChatGPT everything on how the best settings are meant to be on this type of camera. I have no idea what the quality is actually going to be like, so we're just going to roll with it, and if it's bad I'm still just going to post it anyways. But yeah, we're going to wax and tint my brows together because they are in desperate need. And I thought, because I'm still very new to this whole YouTube thing, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me some questions to answer whilst I do it. To come and do this was on my to-do list today, as it's my child-free day. And there hasn't been a Monday in a very long time where I've just had a day of being able to kind of do what I want. There's always something to do. I just hooked on Runaway. If anybody else has watched Runaway on Netflix, yeah, mind blown. Unbelievable. One of the best things I've watched in a very long time. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. 2 episodes left. But I had to come and do this. I had to peel myself away. I promise there is more structured YouTube content coming. It's just when I had the impromptu idea of doing YouTube, I didn't really set out any content ideas. So actually from February, I have specifically set times where I'm going to film certain things for my YouTube channel. I might not be able to do it every single week, but it's definitely going to be more of a structure to it. But for now, I'm just thinking of little ideas that I can post that you will hopefully enjoy watching. I mean, I really don't know how interesting watching me do my brows is and answering some questions that probably nobody cares about, but I thought it's something, so let's go. Right, we've got our questions, so let's work our way through them. First of all, I'm going to prep my brows with Brow Code's Burst Base Ceramide Foaming Cleanser. So first question, how did you actually get into brows and what did you start with first? How did you actually get into brows and what did you start with first? I don't really know with what did you start with? Do you know what, now come to think of it, I don't know why this is a good idea because I actually find it really hard to answer questions. But, right, how did I get into brows? So when I was 16, you leave school at 16, don't you? Yeah. I went to college and I did beauty therapy for a year. So I did that in level 2. Actually hated everything to do with beauty therapy. I was not interested in it whatsoever. But it was back then in a time where it was seen as if you didn't know what else to do, you did beauty, which I actually find a bit of a shame, but hey ho. So that gave me my qualification, and obviously I didn't use my qualification for a very long time. So at that point, I just wanted to get a job and earn some money. And that is where I got a job in River Island. And I became the menswear manager in River Island. I no longer enjoyed that job after about, how many years would I have been there? I think I was there maybe 2 or 3 years. I've kind of forgotten now. Somewhere around there. I'm going to go in with Jelly Buff to exfoliate my brows. Yeah, I was there for about 3 years, and then I seen a job come up on Benefit Cosmetics, and at this time of my life, I was about 20, I was banging to makeup. It looked to me as working on a makeup counter was the best thing in the world. So when I seen this job come up on Benefit, but it was to work on their brow bar and you had to have a qualification in level 2 beauty therapy, I was like, oh, that's a stepping stone to get me into working with makeup. So I went for it, obviously got the job on the Benefit brow bar and became, what was it called? A Benefit? It was like a BBA, but I forgot what that stands for. Anyways, I became one of them and worked on the brow bar and started doing brows. And that is actually where my love for brows came from, and I actually stopped being interested in makeup and my life just became about brows. So that's how I got into brows. Question number 2. What's the biggest mistake you see beginner brow artists make? Well, I could go on and on and on about this one. Definitely the thing I see beginner brow artists make is diving way too much into different products. I'm all for, you know, making sure you're trying and testing products to make sure you get the best one. But I feel like these days that more applied back when I first was a beginner, because the brow industry wasn't really a thing, so we did have to do the work. Whereas now I feel like the brow industry is so advanced to the point when you're actually a beginner now, you don't actually have to waste as much money as what we once had to. Beginners spend way too much money buying a load of different products when you're basically going to find out that a lot of them are crap. What you should be doing is investing in masterclasses, training, and basically just following people you really like in the industry and seeing kind of what they recommend. But yeah, I think people come in all guns blazing and spend way too much on products when you could be investing that money in just proper education. That's not me coming for anybody. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, of course. But to save yourself money, there is better ways to figure out what's good and what's not good by investing in your education. Question number 3. What's one brow myth you wish would die already? What's one brow myth that I wish would die already? Oh, I want to have to think about this one. I'll probably say, we're just going to go and state the obvious really, is that once you get your brows laminated, they don't move, when that is completely wrong. Lamination makes your brow hair flexible, i.e. so you can move it in any way, shape or form that you like. So yeah, I remember when lamination first became a thing, everybody thought the hair was just stuck there, and it absolutely isn't. So I would say probably that. I actually can't think of a more modern one, because I just feel like we're all so much more educated these days, so there's a lot of myths that don't really exist anymore, I suppose. Just gonna map my brows quickly, and I have to concentrate to do this, so I'll look at the next question in a minute. Can I just say as well how hard it is when you're filming on anything, and you know, when it's landscape, it's really hard to keep looking at the middle of the camera and not at yourself. So I apologise if it keeps looking like I'm looking at something over here, because I can see myself on the little screen. So I really need to get used to speaking here and not to here, but that comes with time, I suppose. So I'm going to do this quickly and we'll do the next question. Brows mapped. Let's see what the next question is. How long did it take you to feel confident doing brows? Wow. A very, very long time. And if I'm completely honest, I don't think you will ever feel 100% confident in doing brows. You can definitely feel like you know what you're doing, and that 90% of the time you are confident, but there'll always be a little section of yourself where you just don't believe in yourself, and I think that is genuinely just because we're all human. So if you're a beginner watching this and you are not feeling confident, I promise you, it's not just you. Whether you're a beginner, whether you've done it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, you will never feel 100% confident. And that is because, but that's the dog making that noise, by the way. And that is because, dog man, right? You'll never feel 100% confident. I definitely still don't now with some people. Even though I've done majority of my clients for years and years, there'll be just some days where I just do not believe in myself. And that's alright. That is okay. So yeah, that's my answer to it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, oh yeah, I felt confident after like 2 weeks. Like, no. Doesn't happen. We live in the real world over here. What brow service do clients misunderstand the most? Again, probably lamination. I think lamination to people who are not a beauty person is a very misunderstood treatment. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about brow lamination, when actually it is one of the best treatments you can actually get done to your eyebrows. Just unfortunately, when it is done very wrong, it looks very scary, and if people are only following people that do it wrong, then they're going to think it's a bad treatment. By the way, I'm using Buff brow tint on my brows. I like my brows to be quite natural, darker but natural. I'm not actually a fan of a skin stain on myself, even though I adore a skin stain on my clients. But yeah, on me, because I don't wear makeup, I don't like them to be too much. But then I do like, I'm blonde that likes a darker brown. So, because as well, any tint I put on will only last me a few days, and that's again just real life. I'm that blonde, my hair is just not very porous, so it just does not cling on to tint very well at all. So this will only last me a few days, and that is whether I go black, light brown, whatever. So I think it's just better to tint the hair, because I know where I'm at with that. Do thick or thin brows suit people better, or does it depend? Well, of course, it depends. There will be some of my clients, if you follow me on my socials, you will know I do one of my best girls' eyebrows who has the thickest, darkest brows in the world, and they utterly suit her. They are such a vibe. So if you were to thin her eyebrows out, personally I think she would look ridiculous. But then you would take somebody who has a naturally thinner brow, who if you were then to transfer their brows over and then give the thick brow to the person who has the thin brow, they would also look ridiculous. So yeah, I definitely think that just depends on your face structure, and that if you want, I feel like if you want a thicker brow, I'm all for giving people a thicker brow. But if you want brows that are thinner, I'm always very skeptical, unless we really do need to thin them out to make them more even. So yeah, completely depends. By the way, I'm really sorry if you're still watching this video and you're watching it because it's that boring that you feel need to watch it. But also, if you are still here and you are finding this interesting, thank you. And if you could like my video, that would be amazing. What makes a brow appointment go wrong before you've even started? Oh, interesting. Probably what mood you're in. If you're in a bad mood, then you know you're going to have a crap day at work, which potentially might mean you're going to have one of them days where you just feel like you can't do brows. So yeah, it totally depends on your mood in the morning to how your brow treatment's going to go. There's also other factors to, like, if your client's late or if you're running late, you're then under pressure. So you already know that could potentially cause something to not go right. And sometimes you will just have them clients that are just a little bit trickier, not as in personality, as in their actual eyebrows or lashes just might be a trickier kind. So you work yourself up about that, and then you get stressed, and then you already know it's going to go badly. So yeah, I'd always try and breathe yourself through it. Always helps. But I'm just going to keep things real. I don't sugarcoat things. I am a human at the end of the day, and I am not perfect, even though social media perceives us to be perfect. What's something clients do at home that ruins their brows? We'll state the obvious. Laminating their brows themselves at home with at-home lamination kits is probably one of the worst things you will do to your eyebrows. The ingredients in these home kits are incredibly strong, and when you are not a professional that do not understand the science between how these ingredients work, you will frazzle your eyebrows off, they will fall out, and then we are back to the start with your growth journey. Other than that, unless you're going to overpluck your brows, that's another one. Clients can get a little bit too tweezer happy sometimes. That also ruins the brows at home. So obviously I am a professional brow artist. If you're not a professional brow artist and you're watching this, I'm just going to tell you, please just leave your brows to us. Please do not do it at all. I know it's all about saving money, but honestly, once you invest in the right person, it will be some of the best money you will ever spend. How do you decide brow shape for each client? Well, we're obviously gonna take in their features into consideration, and obviously we're gonna brow map as well. Brow mapping is just a guide. It is not something you follow 100%, but brow mapping will help you guide where points of the brows should be and whether they've got the hair there or not to be able to suit that shape. And if they're wanting a shape totally against their natural brow shape, that is something that you really have to assess together and need to figure out whether it is achievable for the shape you are working with. What's the difference between a good brow artist and a great one? Oh, I don't feel like anybody can call themselves a great brow artist because we're always learning. So yeah, unless you're an absolute know-it-all and know everything down to a T, then yeah, I would say we're probably all on the level of being a good brow artist and working our way to being a great brow artist. Right, whilst that develops, let's work our way through some more. What tools or products are actually worth investing in as a beginner? Right, this one is easy. In fact, you know what? I'm not actually going to answer that in this one. I'm going to do a whole new video on that. That was already on my to-do list. So I'm not going to just give you a little snippet. I'm going to give you a whole video explaining what products you need as a beginner. What brow trend do you secretly love and one you hate? Oh. I mean, a lot of them aren't trends anymore because a lot of them become staples. But a brow trend I really love is lamination. I love lamination. And I love a natural lamination. And one I hate would probably be the big, dark, solid, blocked hybrid brows. And some people can pull it off, and I definitely used to be an artist that would do that a lot on clients because it was a trend. But when I look back on it now, it's just not very flattering. It's giving 2016 vibes. So yeah, love natural lamination, hate dark, blocky 2016 brows, yeah. What's the most common brow concern clients come in with? Right, again, it's hard to answer because I don't see that many new clients, but one tricky thing I do find is when clients come in with a cowl flick. I've got a lot of clients that have cowl flicks in their brows, and it's either to the point where they prefer the brow without the cowl flick or they prefer the brow with the cowl flick. And obviously once you've got a cowl flick in just one brow, it's hard to even the brows up. So that would probably be the common concern, and to kind of fix that, I always find you really need to trim the cowl flick brow down, and if they like the cowl flicky look, then it's really a good idea to look into a baby lamination on the other brow. But that is not something that I specialise in, really. It's not something I've really done, but that's probably what I'd advise for you to do if you had a client in that situation. Do brows really change your face that much? Explain why. So I feel like I'm not going to explain it why, because I feel like you'll see from this video of why that is. But of course it changes your face. It changes the shape, it defines the shape, it changes the colour can bring out your eyes. There's loads of different factors to why your brows are so important. You can literally go from like a 6 to a solid 9.5 with your brows done. I'm not saying that's me, by the way, but you know, you can. So yeah, brows are really important, and I think especially these days, a lot of people notice that more than probably what they did 10 years ago when the trend was just a quick wax and tint. What advice would you give to someone wanting to start brows in 2026? Oh wow, that's deep. feel there's a lot to unpack there. Basically, you are coming into, what's that saying? Like a dog-eat-dog world? Or something like that. Like, the beauty industry these days is brutal. Like, it's so brutal compared to when I started. I don't care what anybody says, but there's so many people in competition with each other, and it really doesn't need to be. I am a firm believer in there is people to go around for everybody, because there'll be people who I have done in my career that haven't liked their brows, and the potentially, if I was to do new clients in the future that maybe came, they potentially might not like the brows, even though they might think that my work looks good on Instagram and stuff, and that's because you cannot please everybody. So that is one thing you really need to learn from the start, is you will get the clients that gravitate for you because they will like you either as a person or just the way that you do things for them and their brows, and they will be your client. But you will get clients that will come and go because they haven't liked the way their brows are, and they might not like you, and as brutal as that is just the way it goes. So once you get over that, I feel like you can actually conquer the world. Another one is never compare yourself to somebody. What's the saying? Don't compare your day 1 to somebody's day like 100. So don't compare yourself to people who have been in the industry for a lot longer than what you have, because they were once beginner too. I was a beginner too, and when I look back at when I was a beginner, like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's all I can say. We have all been there. Oh God, the battery light's flashing at me. What does that mean? Oh, fucking hell. If this cuts off, I will still post it, but just know if it ends, oh my God, the dog. Got my little boy's ball pit in here, and the dog is trying to get into it. Oh my God. He's sat in it like it's his bed. Yeah, if it goes off, I do apologise. So if this cuts out, you know why. Yes, don't compare yourself to other people that have been in the industry a long time, and as well, just make sure you invest in yourself. Never stop learning. Never think you are better than anybody else, because there is always something to learn. I have done this now for 9 years and I still learn every single day. And just never give up. You will have some shit days and you will have some good days, and the good days will eventually outweigh the bad days. You have just got to keep going, and you have to be present on social media too. I can't stress that enough. If you're not present on social media, then clients can't find you, and it is simple as that. What's something nobody tells you about working in the beauty industry? That we're not all perfect, even though we claim to be. What you see on social media will be very different to what actually happens in the salon. So just remember that. You've got to remember you have to have a different social media presence than what you actually are in person. I try and keep it as real as possible through probably doing videos like this, but content is polished, and you have to remember that that sometimes isn't people's true work. So don't compare your work to some polished, edited reel on Instagram or TikTok. What do you maintain brow health long term for clients? So that's obviously your things like, I'm just going to answer this one quickly and then I'm going to go and wax my brows because I can't do that on camera. That's things like adding your step 1.5s into your lash lifts, your brow laminations, brow care masks at the end of the treatment, making sure you're not over laminating brows when they don't need laminated, or over lifting lashes when they don't need lifting. So it did cut out in the end, which I knew it would. So I didn't end up answering the rest of the questions, but brows are all done now. Like I said, they're quite dark, but they will fade in a few days. But if you made it this far through the video, thank you so much. I feel like I would have already answered some of them questions differently already, but hey ho, that's life. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and keep your eye out for even more brow and lash education videos because I've got a lot planned.